Greetings again, everyone. So as you see here is a full drawing of the digestive system, and I will be demonstrating how carbohydrates are digested. So right now we have our person intaking bread. Let's call him Malcolm. So Malcolm is intaking bread, and Malcolm right now is chewing the bread. Remember class, just to remind you, when you're chewing food, this process is called mastication. But does anyone remember what type of digestion is occurring now and what type of amylase is helping with this type of digestion? If you guessed starch amylase, you are correct. Remember, digestion of carbohydrates begins in the mouth. And the enzyme starch amylase is what helps break down the bread in the mouth. But remember, it's not just the starch amylase alone that helps with the digestion in the mouth. It's also the chewing, which is called mechanical digestion. So as you can see here, the bread is getting broken down into smaller molecules via mechanical digestion. Okay, so Malcolm has had enough with chewing this bread, and now he decides to swallow it. Remember, the bread now is actually in smaller molecules, and it's currently going down Malcolm's esophagus via peristalsis. These small molecules are getting to the stomach, it's soon in the stomach, and bam, it's in the stomach. Remember now, when the bread reaches the stomach acid inactivates the starch amylase. So the starch amylase no longer works now. It kind of goes something like this. Bam! Right out to the way. So we have the churning and the mixing of the food that's going on in the stomach. The acid being secreted. Now we have the digesting enzymes attacking those molecules of bread. At this moment now, the bread is preparing for chemical digestion. So the bread is now going to be broken down into even smaller molecules, and this will mainly take place in the small intestine. Remember, the bread was a polysaccharide. Think of that as a large starch molecule. Now in the intestine, the small intestine rather, these polysaccharides are being broken down into oligosaccharides, disaccharides, and monosaccharides, which will be the smallest monomer of carbohydrates. There are 3 monosaccharides, but for right now, we're just going to focus on glucose. Just to reinforce, in the small intestine, you have different types of digesting enzymes that is working on the molecules of bread to be broken down into the simplest carbohydrate, which is glucose. That monosaccharide glucose now will be ready to be dissolved into the bloodstream. And remember, glucose is what gives the body energy to function. Well, it kind of goes like this. Digestion has completely occurred in Malcolm's small intestine. We have our monosaccharide glucose, which came from the carbohydrates, that is getting ready to be dissolved into Malcolm's bloodstream. Here we go. Glucose is now entering the bloodstream, and yeah, it's being dissolved. So Malcolm now has energy. And just like how glucose came from carbohydrates and is being dissolved in the bloodstream, remember, it's amino acids that come from proteins that also dissolve in the bloodstream, and your glycerol and fatty acids that comes from fats or lipids that also dissolves in the bloodstream as well. Oh yeah, don't let me forget, carbohydrates also come from fruit and milk, and these will be considered as simple carbohydrates. Anyway, thanks for watching.